see here, I have two letters. I have P and sale. They give you a formula. They tell you what they usually say, where P is the profit in thousand and T is the number of tickets sold, right? So they have to specify what these letters represent. Otherwise, you won't be able to know what you're solving for. Does that make sense? We also have here the Einstein's theory of relativity, which is the very famous formula E equals mc squared, right? That relates energy and mass. C here, yes, you see it as a variable, but C is the speed of light. And the speed of light is a constant, right? It will be given to you. It's a value, all right? So what you're relating here is the energy and the mass, okay? Again, you don't see a lot of these formulas. You're going to have to plan and organize yourself. You can do this. I'm not going to read this. Any might be given formulas that you have to use in the question, and you have to use one formula before the other. Planning has to come in. I have to find this. On the right, you had to use the Pythagorean theorem first to find. Area or the volume. Same step. These steps down. First one. So the formula S equal 0.6t plus 31.5 gives the approximate when so I read this, it gives me information. It tells me that S is what? What does S represent? And what is the unit sound? Per second. So you also have units, right? It's important to know what your units are because you always have to report units. So if I report something to, let's say, feet or something to centimeter, they're not the same measurements, right? Same with any other unit. When determine okay. You're looking for it. temperature is negative 40 degrees Celsius. So I don't. So what are you looking for? The speed of sound. Very. S. You're looking for what S is. Analysis. Analysis is when you write the formula as it is. Okay? Analysis. So I wrote exactly the formula how it is. Solution. S, knowing T. Do I need to rearrange? No, I just plug in. I just substitute, right? That's part of my. So all what I have to do here is I have to substitute the value of T. I wouldn't include the. I solve, right? So I have to do add 300. Can you tell me what the solution is? That's a negative.
That's negative, yeah.
Yeah. So that should make sense, right? Now, what am I missing in my answer? Unit. Right? What would be my unit? Second to the m per s. Now each step is worth. Okay? So you're missing units, you're missing marks because is improved. Speed of sound. Celsius is 307.5 meters per. it doesn't. In order to start forward. So a landscaper uses a bucket with radius 18 centimeter and a height of 18 centimeter to pour soil into a rectangular planter measuring 1.2 meter by 40 centimeter by 20 centimeter. How many buckets of soil are needed to fill the planter? So if you have this question, what would you do? Go ahead, Eric. Write down the given information. Now, what do I have here? What scenario do I have? What shapes do I have? I have a cylinder that represents the bucket. What's the planter? What's the shape of the planter? Rectangular prism. So I have two different shapes here, right? And I'm using the bucket to fill the planter, right? And I know I'm looking at how many buckets do I need to fill the planter. So what are you looking for here with respect to measurement? Volume, right? So you need to find the volume of your cylinder, of your bucket. You need to find the volume of your planter, and then you have to find how many you need to fill it. Okay, so this is what we figured out. We figured out that we need to find the volume of the cylinder or the bucket, right? And we need to figure out the volume of the rectangular prism. Okay? These are the two things that we're looking for. All right? So first thing that we learned is that with our measurements, when it comes to rectangular prism cylinder, we need the same unit. Do I have all same units? No. Which one is not the same? The planter, right, has a 1.2 meter, right, which I should convert it to centimeter because everything else is in centimeter. Okay? So 1.2 meter in centimeter. What's my conversion here? You still need your pink sheet. Don't lose it. The purple sheet, I mean. The formula sheet and the conversion sheet. What's my conversion? Every meter equal to how many centimeter? It is 100. That's why we have a meter stick. A meter stick is 100 centimeter, no? Yeah. Okay, so every 1 meter is 100 centimeter. You have 1.2 meter. How many centimeters is that? What do? Multiply by what? So multiply 1.2 meter by 100 centimeter, and you divide by 1 meter. That should be not centimeter. Okay? Because remember, cross multiply and divide, right? So that would give me meter. So that should give me 120 centimeter. Okay, so I converted, now I know all my units. They are all in the same unit. Now, decide on the formula to use. We've already talked about this. We've already decided that we need the volume of the planter and we need the volume of the bucket. Okay, I need you guys to look at your formula sheet and tell me what is the volume of my rectangular prism. And what would be the volume of the bucket? Okay, So I written down the formula for each planter. I know the length, I know the width, I know the height of the planter, correct? Okay, so what is my length, width, and height? What's the length? 120 by what? By? And what does that give you? Now I need to look for the volume of the bucket. And that's going to be pi times 18 squared times 18, which is 21.8, right? So I found the volume of the bucket and I found the volume of the rectangular prism. Now what is the question asking me for? How many buckets do you need to fill the planter? What do? Divide what? That's right. So to find your number of bucket, you need to divide the volume of your planter by the volume of the bucket. And that should give you how many buckets you need. Okay? So the number of buckets. So in this case, did they give you a formula for this? You had to kind of come up with a logical formula. Right? So the number of bucket is the volume of the planter divided by the volume of the bucket. And can you guys give me an answer for this? 5.2 buckets? That's a 2. Okay, so remember, always solving more problem, I need a therefore statement. Okay, so my therefore statement is therefore about so let's just try it. So about 5.2 or about 5 buckets are needed to fill the planter.